I go inside. All right, 30 more seconds. I like what I'm seeing, and people are now paying a little more attention. Oh, the hand thing?
And this.
No.
That thing I think she does. I don't know.
No, when she gets mad, she's like.
I really know, like, it was like me to.
He's like. No, she doesn't.
I like
That's what I'm thinking right now. All right, anywho. Hold
What
up.
does everything we say? He slapped her, she like.
There we go. All right.
Gordon sounds like the Hermit Frog.
What?
Ooh. Like,
Anywho, what's up for today? Do now. Your only homework was to read, so you didn't have to pass anything. 1 minute housekeeping. We're going to go over the poem Holocaust. I did do 30 and 20, but it took most of the period to go over it. It was a good thing for a good reason. So we may do that and then compare and contrast it with to be or not to be for homework. And that is Shakespeare, but I gave you the clear version too. I gave you the easy version. It's not going to be like to be or not to be.
Oh, I wanted that one.
Why can't I read Shakespeare?
But there's both of them. You got both.
Yeah.
You got the tough one and you got the clear one. So you want to use the tough one and challenge yourself to do it. And then agenda and homework. I wish we could watch Shakespeare. Housekeeping. Act 1 quiz this Friday. We're going to finish Act 1, Scene 5 tomorrow. Finish the story map. And then I'm going to give you a study guide. That study guide is going to, it might be, depending on whether or not we complete it. Pardon?
But that's everything on the
Everything that's on the study guide is going to be on the quiz. Yeah. So what do you have to do? Study. End of the quarter, April 17th, no school because it's Good Friday. April 18th, vacation, April 21st and 25th. I know some of you are going to come watch me run the marathon. That'd be awesome. I love
I
that.
watch on TV.
Yeah, I'll do.
What's
I
the
told you, I'll
number?
be the one running like this.
What's your number? Gordon, everybody's on
30018.
3.
Wait.
That's really a number?
Just Gordon, 0, 0.
So, wait. 3. Oh my goodness, 30018.
Comcast. What channel is it?
There's going to be many people. You're not going to see like this one person just be like, what's up?
No, but you're gonna be. I will look. Right, I will spot for Gordon.
Probably.
I'll spot Miss Gordon. She'll probably be like, wear her glasses on.
What else should you wear? Not help us.
All right.
What
Objectives.
are you wearing?
Wear bright stuff.
Analyze poetry by distinguishing comparisons and contrasts between the two poems Holocaust and To Be or Not to Be, which again may be for homework, and then explain how these poems relate to the feelings of Anne Frank as she wrote in her diary. Now, with hands raised, what is the target behavior this week?
I don't remember.
You're in college.
I want to see more hands. There's the air. I want to see more hands beneath.
Like,
Thank you. Raquel,
Don't pout or speak out.
don't pout or speak out.
Boom.
What does it mean?
Don't whine.
Don't whine, don't talk out.
No whining,
Like,
no
pout.
pouting.
I don't pout. I don't talk. Oh, like they'll tantrum.
No
Yes.
budding.
I made that
You'll be like,
mistake.
Miss Gordon.
Yeah, no. But I didn't hug you, and then.
No, don't be thrilled.
Naive, it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to understand. Naive is like you're too young or either you don't
Like
really
it said
know.
in the story that maybe it could take away his sleep. So maybe
Right.
it could have affected him the wrong way. Like it could have taken away his sleep.
You have nightmares or something?
Yeah. Or like he stays up all night thinking about what may happen to him.
Like keeps him awake at night because he's so scared.
Well, he probably feels like if it happened once.
Right. Can it technically happen again?
Yes. Possibly.
They already said that
Possible.
history has already repeated stuff.
Like the time, like the
and we try and learn from it, but do people get power hungry and wind up going crazy anyway? Yeah, it happens.
Not that they're bad people.
Is it easy for any of us, no matter what age we are, to understand the Holocaust and why it happened? No. It's so hard to manage to understand the severity of it and that people were actually slaughtered, killed, murdered just because of what they believed. It's very difficult to understand why it happened. How could people be so awful to do such a thing? How do you manage to understand them? We really don't fully understand it. So they're saying, if we don't fully get it, how's this young, naive boy going to understand it? Good point, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
I still don't get it. I've learned about it all my life, and I'm still like,
How
why?
do you put it as
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting
Young, naive, difficult to understand. Difficult to make sense of.
the boy difficult to understand.
Difficult to understand.
I said different.
Different.
Let's go ahead.
Incomprehensible. That we comprehend something, you're like, I just, incomprehensible. Yes.
It also affects his language.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it says, takes away his sleep, just like Anne Frank, when she knew what was going on. She was thrashing, she was all upset. Same thing could happen. You could have bad dreams about it, especially if you're in it, like Anne Frank was, like, hello, you hear the bombs outside, you hear the all the shooting. I know, it doesn't sound quite the same when I do it,
Like
but.
the AK-47. The person that
Sorry, I just.
the person that wrote this poem, Holocaust, should say that.
Good question. We good on this one? Make sense?
Did Pete ever make the movie?
Next, why does the author capitalize the term German Jew? Bum, bum, bum.
So, like, when you read it, it's that people want to
It is something to think about, but there's more to it than that, Naya.
because he wanted you to know that it was German.
Yeah, to the Nazis, that would be considered I said it earlier. Starts with C.
Contradiction.
You got it. Yep, you had it. To the Nazis, that's like almost as if it's a contradiction. And think about it, your people are killing all the Jews, but then again, you're not considered one of the people because you're Jewish, but you're German too.
So would
Mind?
So would you be, would he get killed? Just like, so they wouldn't hear him out?
What is there to hear? He believes in Judaism. He's
No,
Jewish.
what if he said I'm German, but I'm Jew, and I don't believe it? German is with the Jews. You know how they had a choice to like say, so he would have a choice to be like, I don't believe in Jews.
And you could be like, no, I'm not. I don't know where that came from. But it's a what if, so I don't even know if they hear him out or if they'd be like, oh, no, sorry, it says it on paper. Because remember, they went to all the churches to look up who was Christian and who wasn't. So they did their homework.
the Jews are Christian?
And plus it was like, it was different for, like, if this was to happen on now, like now here,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
if it would happen now, it would be different than happening back then because they didn't really care about what people say. So like, the Jews didn't really have any, like, they couldn't speak up. But if like something like that happened now, people would hear it out.
But do you think people would? If they believe this one thing, if these
Certain
people are
people.
awful, yada, yada.
Certain people, not
Because
everyone.
remember the escalation of hate that we discussed?
Mhm.
And we talked about people that like rock music. And And we don't know much about them, but we just know that we don't like them for some reason. And then all these ideas get in our heads and all of a sudden we hate them. And you're not fully sure why. Same thing, same idea. So even saying, I mean, you may be right, saying like nowadays we're more open, we hear people out, but you always have those people who have the closed minds. And they're just like, no matter what you say, you're wrong. You're wrong. Ever met someone like that?
My mother.
My mom.
I'm like that.
Oh my.
My dad actually.
With you myself.
Everybody.
My little sister. Everyone in my family.
When you're a teenager, I mean, you know everything, so obviously everyone else is wrong.
That's how I do like to do everything. Like,
But now, when I talk to my mom, like, you were right, you're right. And same thing when I was your age, you're wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm always right.
but if they're right, you admit it. I admit it.
Eventually, yeah, it's like, okay, I was stubborn.
But sometimes my mom is wrong.
What is stubborn?
Like, I would no way think that I was wrong. No, I'm always
That's me, you're stubborn.
yes.
Yes.
You know, the nicest way possible.
Almost everyone has that.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
I know I do.
You gotta have that stubbornness, you gotta fight. This is a very interesting line, and I want you to think about it before you start answering. Perhaps someday he might be included in it. Perhaps someday.
Oh, wait, it does make sense.
Perhaps someday, bless you, he might be included in it. Oh, it is? Oh, okay. I thought this was a good one. Sorry, my bad. Somebody with their hand raised. I got one, all right. I don't even know what, do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Tell me what you think it means. Aaliyah. Ah!
I think it means that maybe when he gets older, that maybe he might be included into the Holocaust, and he might either be put into the chambers, or yeah.
What are they saying there's a possibility of in the future? Another
Holocaust.
Wait, could I really not do it?
Yeah.
You never know.
We won't be in it.
I won't be in it, right?
Are you German?
You would fight to the death. You would
I'd be like,
I think I would, but I'm just saying.
They wouldn't catch me.
What's the word we use in a writing? Days! What's one word you better think about in writing? Days! Word is better on the word describe. Days! Word that you're writing really runs on. Days! Days! A way to keep your
Gangnam Style